hotel anyway, so I can probably get on there and stay until we're ready to move again. That's alright, don't worry, I don't know. I can't remember what I said now.
One, two, 1, 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing channel here for the second race of tonight here for the opening round of the GT3 Championship here on a Sunday for Season 5. We're here with the Tier 1s out on track tonight. We had the Tier 2s not long ago. We have now got the creme de la creme. We have got the best of the best here. Currently putting it these GT3 cars about their paces here at Kyalami. We've got Jazzman and Tynus, the two formidable foes. Oh, as Jazzman's lost it there, going through the middle sector, which is not ideal, and he's now having to wait for a few drivers to come past. But we've got the two formidable foes here, Jazzman and Tynus, who are driving in the Hondas for both championships this season, for both the sprint and the main championship here at Motive. So interesting to see, and they're both working quite nicely by the looks of it here in the wet conditions at Kyalami. We've got a wet qualifying session, but it's looking like the forecast is going to be dry in about half an hour, and the race is actually set to be at 7 o'clock in the evening. So if it's going to be dry at 5:43, who knows, it could be dry at 7 PM as well. The track could have actually dried out by 7 PM. So I'm going to be interested, it's going to be intriguing to see whether or not the track's dried out by the time we start, and will there be more rain coming during the race itself as well. We're going to find out obviously over the course of tonight. The Tier 2 race stayed dry for both qualifying and the race. Well, there was a big downpour during the practice for Tier 2. There's been downpours throughout for Tier 1 and smatterings of rain here and there. And obviously the situation right now is that there is quite a lot of standing water out there, so it would take probably an hour or two for this to dry up, considerably enough for it to be considered dry. So we could be seeing a damp start to this race here, at the very least. If not, we could be seeing another downpour. But Jazzman, nonetheless, currently on provisional pole position here in this wet qualifying session, as he comes over the line now, and he currently stays in provisional pole. Doesn't improve his time, but nonetheless continuing to strut his stuff here in these very tricky conditions. Obviously, it's home race as well tonight, is Jazzman, as is Robe as well. Both South African boys here, and they're both 1 and 2 here, so they're doing a fantastic job so far. They're ahead of Tynus, who's in third. Tynus, I think, actually took the win here last season. In fact, I'm thinking of 2 seasons ago, because the Kyalami was the season finale actually 2 seasons ago, in Season 3. So it was the season finale 2 seasons ago, and it's the season opener for Season 5. But I think Tynus managed to win that race, because I seem to remember thinking how much of an upset it was that Jazzman didn't win his home race. Oh, Tynus has just gone P1. So I was watching him and I didn't even pick up on it. So Tynus has gone P1. He's half a second ahead now of PS Vids, who's moved himself through up into second place. So Tynus and PS Vids moving ahead of the two home duo here of Jazzman and Robe at the moment. Robe coming to the final corner. Can he improve? The track seems to be getting wetter. The rain's still coming down, so it's going to be hard to improve, but people are still doing it. So the dry line's starting to appear maybe. Robe does go top of the pole there by 0.02 of a second, so it's very, very close. But Robe steals provisional pole position, but with the track ramping up and continuing to improve here at the end of this session, we could be seeing the lap times coming down more and more and more as we get to the end. So this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to be seeing improvements and developments over the course of the next 2 minutes here. As we did not want to just do that, unfortunately. The game's a bit broken here with the spectator mode, so unfortunately now we're stuck with a helicopter cam for the rest of this qualifying session. But currently Robe setting pole position there by 0.02 of a second as Jazzman goes top of the pole by 1.6 seconds. So the track is really improving here at the end. It's improving rapidly right now. Robe's out there, Tynus is out there, PS Vids is out there. If you're not out on track now, you're screwed. Andrew's in the pits, so he's going to lose out enormously. Henry's done for the session, so he's also going to lose out. Snoopy's in the pits. Carl Marley seems to have hit the checkered flag already, so lots of drivers here are not going to be able to capitalise on this improving track. Tynus goes into P2 there, 0.8 of a second off of Jazzman. What about Robe? Robe is still out there on this improving track, with the dry line appearing more prevalently here at the end of the session. Here he comes through into the coming through into the final part of the lap right now. PS Vids is also out there. He's coming out of the final corner. What can he do? Here he comes. He's got to find 2 seconds to be on pole. Over the line comes PS Vids. Is it going to be enough here? It's not enough. It goes P3, so he moves ahead of Robe. Robe here into the final few corners of this lap. What can he find here? 1.6 is currently his delta to the provisional pole to Jazzman. Here he comes into the penultimate corner, staying off that curb. Gets it nicely through. Is he going to send it into the final corner? What's his lap time like? What's his delta looking like? He'll know what his situation is. Here he comes up towards the line. Robe, our home driver here, South African boy, driving at Kyalami here tonight. Over the line he comes, and it's not an improvement even for him. So Robe stays P4, and that is that for the qualifying session here. So Jazzman, pole position at his home race, ahead of Tynus in second, with PS Fit in third, ahead of another home driver, Robe, who will line up in fourth place, with Andrew fifth, ahead of Henry in P6. Snoopy 7th, ahead of Carl Marley, followed by Ludo and Spuzz, driving as a very special guest here tonight, P10, making his making his return to the league. He hasn't raced here at Motive now for a couple of seasons, but good to see him back out on track. He'll be starting P10 for this one, and it is a dry start to the race, which is a big news here. Epiphany will start 11th, Mary Louise 12th, ahead of Remster 13th, Ericode in 14th, with Lowell 3000 15th and Glenn 16th place. And we had a few drivers who couldn't make it here tonight, regular drivers actually as well, which is a big surprise. So unfortunately we're a bit down on the numbers here. We're hoping to have 20 plus for both tiers. We had 18 in tier 2 and 16 in tier 1 tonight, so not the numbers we wanted, but hopefully we can get that sorted out for next week. Guys, if you've got an SA rating of 60 or above, you fancy getting involved in these leagues, then definitely feel free to go to www.motiveracing.com. The link is at the top of the screen, as you can see, and the Discord server link is actually on our public server, which is on the PlayStation 5 ACC server list. So if you want to get involved, as I say, it's really easy to do so. It's completely free as well. We don't charge anybody any money for signing up, but looks like we're lights on and almost ready to go here. Strategies just being locked in now in the closing stages of this ready up phase. Here we are then. This is it. Hopefully everybody's going to ready up in time. Has anybody missed it? Mary Louise and Snoopy unfortunately didn't get there in time, so they will have to start from the pits. But it's not the end of the world. It's a long race, 1 hour, so still a long time for them to be able to get themselves back in this. Yeah, here we go for the formation lap for the first round of the tier 1s here this season. Here we are guys, coming towards the end of the formation lap. It's Jazzman and Tynus here, 1 and 2. No surprise here, these old foes here leading us around. It looks like it's going to be a dry start to the race. The track's green, so obviously because it was raining quite heavily early on, there's still wet patches on the grass and stuff like that, so if you run off road then it could be quite treacherous, but the track itself is actually dried out now, but saying that, you could be in big trouble. If you dip a wheel onto the grass, it could be catastrophic here, because it will still be wet off of the track. But here we're coming in through the final few corners here. Jazzman and Tynus here, running side by side as they are on this formation. Can Robe and Andrew take the fight to him? What about Henry here in 5th place? Carl Marley, who can take the fight to Jazzman and Tynus this season? Ludo was so often the driver trying to bridge that gap to the big two last season, or rather, well, Jazzman was only here for the final 2 rounds, but he was able to challenge Tynus on a few occasions. What's going to happen here tonight at Kyalami for this first round of season 5 for the tier 1s as we come up towards the line, and we're almost underway here. And here we go, we are green, green, green as we come down towards turn 1 now. Jazzman leading on the inside there, gets a good getaway. Tynus in the house there, tucks into the slipstream. We've got Robe there in 3rd, defending to the inside on Andrew. Andrew's got Henry round his outside here as they come through turn 1. Has Henry managed to complete that move there? He'll have the inside for turn 2 and he's up into 4th place. Looks like we're all very clean through the first couple of corners. The 2 drivers who started from the pits there, Snoopy and Mary Louise, just coming out now. But Jazzman leading ahead of Tynus right now, with Robe in 3rd place, Andrew 4th ahead of Henry, followed by Carl Marley. Ludo in 7th ahead of Spuzz, followed by... sorry, apologies. Spuzz there running 7th ahead of Erico, with Ludo there down to 9th. So Ludo's lost a couple of places there, with Remster there in 10th ahead of Lol 3000. Glenn there, let's drop behind Lol 3000 up into, down to 12th place. And the top 14 of PS Fids. What happened to PS Fids? Oh, PS Fids, no, you couldn't make it up. Last season seemed to be involved in every conceivable first lap collision that was possible to be caught up in. And this season it started off in a similar vein. And that's very frustrating there for him, because PS Fids, I've said before and I'll say it again, if he didn't have bad luck, he would have no luck. He just always seems to have problems on the first lap. Then again, he was a high flyer in last season's championship. I think he was top 5, maybe even top 3 last season in the championship, despite that. But nonetheless, we've got Henry down the inside of Robe. Is he going to make that move? He is, and in fact he might make a move here on Tynus as well. Tynus keeps it around the outside there as Henry and Robe almost side by side here. Robe trying to come back at Henry here, coming into the penultimate corner, but Henry does get that move done. In the background, you've got Carl Marley ahead of Andrew coming into the final corner, but they're holding firm, holding position at the moment as they're down the inside of Ericode into the final corner. Ericode holds it around the outside, gets the better run out of the corner, and Ericode holding on for 8th place at the moment. But it's Jazzman leading by nearly 2 seconds ahead of Tynus as they come down the start finish straight down towards turn 1 again. You've got Remster here looking to the inside of Ludo as they're side by side coming into the braking zone. Can Remster make this move? I think he's going to send one up the inside here of Ludo. Oh, he's in the foreground. We've got somebody losing it there. Who's that? I'm not quite sure who it is at the moment. We might find out in a second. I'm not quite sure at the moment. Somebody lost it there. I think it might have been Carl Marley, who was a bit sideways there, and he's just ahead now of Erico, so he's lost a couple of places, lost out to Andrew and Spuzz. Carl Marley down to 7th place with a little bit of a take there coming on the exit of turn 1. But Jazzman leading, and he's got a comfortable gap here of 1.5 seconds. Whereas saying that, it looks like it's a bit less than that now, so maybe Jazzman made a mistake coming to the first sector there, because that's a lot less than 1.5 seconds there between himself and Tynus. That's definitely well under 1 second there between those two at the moment. So Jazzman pulled out the gap at the end of the first lap, but seems to have made a bit of a mistake there coming through the this section of the track. You've got Tynus and Henry right with him there with Robe as well. As we watch the rest of the pack there filing through the shop. Epiphany's dropped off for the top 10 a little bit here. Glenn there running in 12th place. PS Fids looking to try and pick Glenn off here. Glenn sideways. Oh, massively out of shape there. PS Fids will look to get a run here down the hill. Stop doing penalty for Mary Louise, who's coming in for an early pit stop, and just to add insult to injury there, has gone steaming into the pits too quickly. PS Fids though up into P12 ahead of Glenn, gets that job done. Here's the leaders coming into the final corner right now. There they all are. The top 10 currently separated about 5 seconds, so it's pretty close. But there is Jazzman ahead of Tynus and Henry. Robe there keeping to the back of these guys. Currently just a couple of seconds back to Andrew, Spuzz and Carl Marley. Ericode, Ludo and Remster there keeping tabs with these guys. But it's a very close pack here at the front here for the first couple of laps here of the Tier 1 race at Motive for Season 5 here in the GT3 Championship. Brilliant racing from these Tier 1 guys, and obviously very clean as well. You know, we expect nothing less from these guys because they've been doing this now for quite a few seasons. lot of these guys have been racing in Motive for years, and a lot of them came in a couple of seasons ago now, so they've all had time to gel and know each other's driving styles really nicely. Obviously only 16 drivers out on track here tonight because unfortunately a few couldn't make it, a few regulars couldn't make it, and so ultimately this is what we've got. But 16 drivers out on the track, you know, that's still more than enough to enjoy some exciting racing. We should see plenty of battles here tonight, as Jazzman seems to just be opening up a little bit of a gap here over Tynus. Just over a second between Jazzman and Tynus right now. Tynus has got more pressure from behind him than what he's able to put on front on the race leader at this point. Andrew's just dropping off at the top 4 a little bit. You've got Spuzz just ahead of Kyalami. Spuzz driving an absolute cracker of a race so far. Really impressed with him on his return to Motive. PS Fid's still keeping on the back of Epiphany right now, as we've lost a driver actually already from the race. Mary Louise has rage quit a couple of laps in, which is not what we want to be seeing at all here. Not the start to the season that he would have wanted at all. Here's Vid's currently hassling the back of Epiphany here, looking to the inside, trying to put him off a little bit, but Epiphany not taking the bait, just doing his thing at this point. And he's doing it really nicely, to be fair, as well. Top 4 separated by nothing here. Jazzman has still got Tynus, Henry and Robe breathing down his neck, so he's not having this all to himself at the moment. He's obviously leading a train of cars, but seemingly this is quite an exciting battle at this point. We don't know what strategy these guys are on in terms of their tyres or their fuel. So some people will be coming in and putting fuel in and changing tyres, and some will obviously be trying to do the whole race on one set of tyres. They'll have to have a full tank at this point. Track's ramping up a little bit. It's now gone to fast according to our telemetry. Oh, Tynus has made a mistake. So Tynus has lost out here to Henry and Robe. He's come out ahead of Henry though, so Tynus has dropped down to 4th place with a little bit of a mistake there, coming out the penultimate corner. So Tynus there losing 2 places, and that's giving Jazzman just a bit of breathing space here. He's now got over a second of a gap here at the front. Totally Zero saying, let's go Robe. JR there in the comments saying about Jazzman, he's an absolute beast. Goten says, sat in a party with Jazzman once, he knows so much, it's mad. I'm used to F1, so a lot of people know a lot compared to me, but Jazz is so talented. He absolutely is, mate. He's an insanely good driver. He puts in the work, to be fair. He puts in a lot of hours into practicing this game, and obviously he had a bit of a layoff recently because he was visiting his family in South Africa. He lives in the Middle East, but actually was visiting his family, so he wasn't driving for a few months, but came back like nothing happened. Returned in the penultimate round of last season, and took the race win. I can't remember where we were for that penultimate round, but I just remember he came back and he won his first race back. So I mean, if you want the hallmark of just quality driver, Jazzman is totally it. But his gap to Henry just over a second at this point. You've still got Robe hassling the back of Henry, about a second ahead of Tynus. Andrew's just dropping off for these guys a little bit now. Spars has got pressure here from Kyalami and Error Code. Ludo's not too far away from those guys. Remster's well and truly dropped off for them. And in fact, Remster's made a mistake because he's now dropped back into the clutches of PS Fids here. So I'm not sure what's happened here to Remster, but he's made a mistake. He's dropped it somewhere. PS Fids now knocking on the door of a top 10 spot already here, after not the first lap that he would have wanted, I'm sure. But he's got on with it, and he's got himself back into a decent position here. Oh, as Remster there, massive slide, hits the curb there, going to the penultimate corner, which is so easily done. I've done that before, I tell you. I can't even tell you how many times I've done that. Remster stays ahead of Epiphany just, so he's running in 11th at the moment, but Epiphany's going to be all over the back of him here as they come down the start-finish straight, and he's going to pull out the slipstream now, and the Porsche is going to look to try and out-drag the Bentley here, which is not going to be easy, but they're side by side here. The Porsche is definitely going to have to grip under the brakes. As here we come into turn 1, down the inside goes Epiphany, and he gets the job done there. into 11th place. Nice move there. Jazzman, Henry and Robe still separated by a second at the moment. These top three are actually pulling away from Tyler, so Tyler's just dropping off the pace a little bit here. He's maybe just doing a bit of tyre conservation work, not quite sure. Spaz has still got a train of cars, Carmali, Ericode and Ludo in close contention right now. I tell you what, one driver I've been very impressed with so far is Ericode, running in 8th place on his Tier 1 debut. Obviously raced in Tier 2 last season, finished I think 5th in Tier 2. Obviously the top 6 get promotion. But of the drivers who got promotion from last season, actually Carl Marley's the highest runner. So Carl Marley's doing a really good job as well, to be fair. Carl Marley and Ericode really flying the flags for the Tier 2 boys in Tier 1 here. Obviously I call them Tier 2 boys, they are Tier 1 drivers now because they earn their place, you know. I need to kind of get over the idea of them being Tier 2 drivers because that's a massively irrelevant stat. But Carl Marley there wide, coming out the penultimate corner, into the final corner we go. Erico trying to get onto him here, coming out to the final corner, onto the start finish straight. We're going to be side by side here. Erico might fancy a move going into turn 1. As you can see there, they're side by side now, and he's out dragged him there as Erico, and he's going to make the move into turn 1 there quite easily up into 7th place. Beautifully done there from him. Robo's still on the back of Henry at the moment. So they're battling out. Oh no! And Henry's made a mistake there, so he's dropped it into the wall. And Henry's got big damage on the front of the car. He's going to need to come into the pits and get that repaired. That's going to cost him time. He's also going to lose performance over the course of this lap, which means that he will be vulnerable to the drivers behind him. He's down in 9th already. Where's PS Fids? PS Fids will be coming up on the scene quite shortly here, so Henry is going to lose a load of places. Oh, that is gutting there for him as he was driving an absolute cracker of an opening round for this season. That's going to be a very frustrating one for him as Robe is suddenly on the back of Jazzman here. So what's happened here to Jazzman? Jazzman must have made a mistake because Robe is right under his bumper here. So clearly something's happened to Jazzman, and now Robe is looking to try and pounce. These two, both South African drivers here, both in the home races. So Robe looking down the inside. Jazzman does manage to get it turned in, doesn't go deep. And it's still as you were here between these guys. Tyler Stowe in third ahead of Andrew. These guys well clear of Spuz, running in P5. Ludo's still on the back of Carl Marley here in this battle for 6. So Ludo's got ahead of Ericode. And obviously he's ahead of Henry because Henry's got big damage. But Ludo ahead of Ericode now, trying to focus his attention on Carl Marley. Here's the battle for the lead. Jazzman and Robe coming down the start finish straight here. What can Robe do here on the back of Jazzman? One, two, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2. Audio check, audio check. Right, guys, we're just currently using my controller as my mic because I forgot to charge my controller up. I've only got one lead, so I'm currently using my lead to charge my controller to make sure it doesn't run out of battery. So currently my studio mic is currently out of action, so we're using the controller as our mic. But here we go, Robots are going to move down the inside. This is for the lead of the race here. The two South African drivers here side by side. In fact, no, hold on. Sorry, that's Robo. Sorry, he's actually trying to defend from Tinus. I do apologise. Oh, God. Sorry, everyone. So honestly, around the outside, he's going to get that move done into turn 2. And he's pulled that one off, although Robo's trying to keep himself there, actually. And he's keeping the 1-2 in the bag at the moment for South Africa. Robo with a fantastic, resilient defensive driving there ahead of Tinus and still holding on for second place here. Jazzman, though, threatening to ride off into the sunset with these two battling. I do apologise. I took a couple of minutes off the mic just to try and find a solution. Couldn't find a lead. I've got one lead for my controller and my mic. It's the same one, so I can charge my controller, but I can't use my mic. So I'm currently using my controller as my microphone, and the audio quality is not as good. Let's say that. But we've got to make do with what we got for now. And I'll give it about sort of 15 minutes, and then I'll plug the mic in, and we should be good to get to the end with that amount of juice, I reckon. So yeah, we'll come back to that. But Spuz currently still running in P5. He's got a trainer card, Carl Marley, Ludo and Ericode. In a great drive from well, no, he's got currently Carl Marley and Ludo, not Ericode. Ericode's a little bit behind, but currently these three are battling out over 5th place. There is a driver actually with them. That's Henry, I think it is. Yeah, Henry's a lap down, but he is battling with them as it stands. But we've got Ludo all over the back of Carl Marley. Can he make this move here down the end of the back straight into this driver ahead? Oh, and there's contact there. Henry, the lapped car, hitting the back of Ludo, and Ludo's going to be pretty angry with that one. Ludo flashing his lights. He's not happy, and I don't blame him at all. Obviously, the rules in the GT World Challenge are that lap cars don't have to get out of the way. When you're a lap car and you start ramming drivers who have lapped you in the back and taking them out, it doesn't look good. But in the meantime, Spaz still ahead of Carl Marley. Ericode now attacking on the back of Ludo as well, so Ludo might lose out to Ericode. He does lose out to him. Ludo has dropped a couple of places here. PS Vids makes his way through as well, so Ludo's got himself into a bit of a rut here. Maybe got his head in a bit of a space where he doesn't want it. He needs to just cool himself down and go again here. Take a deep breath and crack on again. Still a long way to go. Gap at the front in the meantime. 1.4 between Jazzman and Robe, so Jazzman's looking a bit better now than he was. Here we are then, Jazzman and Robe currently coming into the final corner there. Second separating them, so Robe's gained a little bit on Jazzman over the course of this lap. Need to try and remember to hold my controller up to my mouth at the moment because the mic on the controller is not great. But here we come. Down the start finish straight, Robe there. Trying to duck out of the slipstream here, I think. Trying to stop Tinus from getting a tow. Not really working. I mean, the gap's reasonably big between them. best part of a second, but they seem to be constantly running up here. Chazman has got Robe and Tynus both gaining on him at this moment in time. But obviously Henry no longer in the back of these guys with his incident earlier on. So it's really these three now battling it out over the lead. Andrew's not too far away though. He's only, well, he's about 3 seconds off the lead at the moment. And he's only about under 2 seconds behind Tynus. So he's driving a strong race at this point and could be in contention to maybe cause these guys some problems if they battle each other too hard or make a mistake. You know, who knows? Jeffman, Robe and Tynus take each other out. Andrew will be there to pick up the pieces, but hopefully that won't happen because we don't want to be seeing any incidents. We like clean racing here, that's what we're about. But Spuzz here's got Kyalami all over the back of him right now. Are we side by side? No, not quite. Kyalami for something has to tuck in behind him. Ericode has still got Ludo behind him. PS Fids is in there as well. Henry the lap car is in the midst of that battle, which Ludo's not going to be happy with after what happened last time. But Henry seems to be being a bit more cautious now. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson, and you can't really fault the kid, can you? But Kyalami is still trying to find a way through ahead of Spuzz as we're coming into the final few corners. Really, it is still separated by about 1.5 seconds at this point. Gap's going up. It's ebbing and flowing between Jazzman and Robert. It's going up and then it's coming down again. Weather forecast saying we're expecting dry weather for the next half an hour at least, which means if there is going to be rain, it's going to be right at the end. But it doesn't look like there's going to be any rain here. We had a wet qualifying session. We had a bit of a downpour during practice, but it's looking like it's staying away for the time being, which is good obviously because we don't want to be seeing chaos really. I mean, it's nice, it's unpredictable, but I'd rather that it be consistent. I'd rather we have either rain or no rain. It'd be nice to just have a race where it's kind of just all representative. Spuzz in the meantime has he pulled away from Kyalami? I think Kyalami might have made a mistake here. Either that or the camera direction is absolutely shocking. No, Kyalami has made a mistake. He's now behind Ericode, Ludo, PS Vids. So Kyalami's dropped it. And where has he come out in all of this? He's ahead of Epiphany, but he's well behind that battle, that train of cars between Ericode, Ludo and PS Vids. So Kyalami now 4 seconds behind that battle. So he's lost a load of places there, which is not ideal at all for him. Kyalami coming into the pits here at the end of lap 13. So he's the first driver to make a pit stop aside from Henry, actually, who came in for early damage. Understandable, that one. Robbie seems to have gained a little bit on Jazzman over the course of this lap. You can see it's now well within a second, but just at points Jazzman's putting out again. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen between these two. One moment it's about half a second, the next moment it's best part of a second. But on the whole, Jazzman, Robbie and Tyson keeping each other in check. And the thing is, the strategy is going to come into play hugely here, because if one of these drivers can get in the box nicely for their pit stop and someone else has a bit of a mare, it can completely throw things up. And you know, tenths of a second in the pit box are going to count enormously in this battle between these three. It's going to be very close. But they're coming up on some traffic here. I think that's either Carl Marley or Henry in the foreground. No, it's not either of them actually. It's actually Glenn. And Glenn's moving aside and letting these guys through. So Glenn wants no part of this. Says, off after you chaps, go on, crack on. Andrew here into the pits here at the end of that 15. Spuzz, Erico, Ludo and PS5. Look at this train of cars here with Henry, the lap car, still making a nuisance of himself there behind them. Andrew in the pits at the moment. But Spuzz doing a great job of defending from these guys. I mean, they've been throwing everything at him, but Spuzz has not been phased. He's not been deterred. He's not bothered at all. Saying that, Erico might have got around the outside of him here. Looking around the outside here, he's gone very wide there out of turn 1 into turn 2. Spuzz holds on still. Erico can't manage to capitalise there. Spuzz just holding on. Erico facing more pressure here from Ludo from behind now. PS5's right with them as well. Andrew now trundling towards the end of the pit lane, having stopped in his box. He's now off and on his way again. Here we come then, out onto the start finish straight here to complete lap 16. It's still Jazzman from Robe with time to stay in the background. 1.7 separating the top 3. Spuzz still keeping this train of cars at bay. I don't know how he's managed to do so for so long. Oh, massive moment there from Erico. Is Ludo going to capitalise down? No, he's not. He's going into the pits. I thought he was going for a lunge there, but no, into the pits comes Ludo. Spuzz and Erico now left to battle it out for now. I think the lap car of Henry's made a mistake, because he's now well off of these guys. Gonna have PS Fitz putting a lap on him shortly if he doesn't pick up the pace. Back to the leaders. We're approaching the halfway point. We'll get a good idea of who's half tanking it, who's changing tyres, who's good to go to the end, and who's gonna have fresh rubber in the final part of this race. But 1 2 1 2. Hey, rolling guys, we should be back on the studio mic now, so the sound should be a lot better. We've got Jazzman still leading ahead of Robe and Tynus. None of these guys are very late to come in at the halfway point, although Andrew, Ludo, Carl Marley have all been in. Henry obviously came in for an early pit stop with damage, but Andrew's the highest runner of the drivers who have pitted, which is no surprise because he was actually quite close to the top three. He was only about 3 or 4 seconds off of the top three when he came in. I wonder if he's going for the undercut here. Can he potentially execute an unexpected turn of events here? Especially if these guys are full tanking it. He'll have a quicker car towards the end and will probably be closing in on them. If these three are battling, that could invite him in. But currently, Jazzman and Robbie upping the tempo a little bit. Can Tynus keep it with them here? It's coming towards the end of lap 18. We're well past the halfway point now here at Kyalami tonight for the Tier 1s. The opening round of the season here at Motive for Season 5 here for the GT3 Championship. Jazzman still has the ascendancy, and it's looking like all of these three are probably full tanking it because they're going well past the halfway mark, where you'd logically want to come in if you're running half tank and you're planning on changing tyres. You want to do the same distance on each tyres to minimise any wear or time loss on either side. Error code into the pits here, so he's coming in to make his mandatory. That'll move Spuz up into P4 for the time being. PS Vids is reeling in Spuz at the moment, so that could be one to watch, but obviously we've seen what Spuz is like when he's defending. He's very, very good at defending. He was able to keep Error code behind him for about 20 laps, or nearly 20 laps it was. Obviously we've just done lap 18, so it was getting on for 20 laps because it was pretty much the whole race from the first lap onwards. But let's see if PS Vids can have any more luck here with Spuz. Obviously the BMW quite quick in a straight line, so you'd think it would probably have a bit of an easier task. Jazzman currently still leading by just over a second now ahead of Robe, so Jazzman has now put the pedal down. He said, right, come on, I need to get the best out of this now. He's trying to extend my gap before the pit window to minimise risk of getting jumped or somebody getting the overcut or the undercut, whichever way you look at it. Error code now away here, so he's getting himself back out on the track again. Jazzman's still leading by a bit more now than a second and a half, I would say, as Tynus comes into the pits. So he dives in here at the end of lap 19. Now is he going to be putting tyres on? Is he going to be putting fuel in? That will tell us what strategy he's on. I have a feeling he's probably full tanking it, so there should be a quick stop and go here for Tynus. But unlike Tynus to see him doing this, he's coming in early. He's going for the undercut here. He's usually a driver who will go right to the end, will stay out in the lead in clean air, and will wait right until the end to come into the pits. Tonight he's going for an undercut, so he's into the pits and he is away, straight away. No doodling around there for Tynus in the house. Parked his car perfectly in its spot, onto the jacks, off the jacks, back out on the track, and he comes out in a load of clean air here ahead of Spuz, who is still yet to pit. So Tynus has played an absolute blinder there with that pit stop. Knew he had the gap, knew he could slot into some clean air, and he's gone and absolutely played that one brilliantly there. Epiphany into the pits here at the end of lap 19, so he's coming in on the same lap as Tynus. Jazzman is extending his gap now over Robe a little bit. He's now over 2 seconds clear of him, which is giving him a bit more momentum here in this one. PS Vids is closing up onto the back of Spuz, but can he find a way through? We've seen what Spuz is like. He's defending like an absolute hero over the course of tonight. Snoopy and Andrew right there. Andrew's pitted, so he'll be wanting to clear this traffic as quickly as he can to minimise any damage to his race, as he's down the inside there of Snoopy and gets the move done up into 7th place. Easy pickings there for Andrew. And Jazzman still leading the race by just over 2 seconds here to Robe, but he seems to have the pace over Robe just at this moment in time. And Robe's coming into the pits here at the end of lap 19. So Jazzman staying out. Now Robe, is it going to be a stop and go? Surely it is. Surely it's not going to be a tyre change or fuel, because you know you'd come in at the halfway point if that was the case. Robe here into his box. Now what is the pit stop time going to be? Because Tynus was pretty quick, I'd say. Tynus was stopped for no more than 4 seconds, I would say, when he came in. Robe's a little bit longer. A little bit longer. He's still sat in the box. He still hasn't moved, so this is a long pit stop here for Robe. And I assume fresh tyres, maybe not, maybe not. So it must have been fuel there for Robe. He must have been under fueled, because That was far too long in the pit stop to be a stop and go, but it was also nowhere near long enough to be tyres. So that, I think, was fuel going on Roby's car. So clearly he's underfueled the car. He's back out on the track now, coming out of turn 1. Remster in the meantime coming into the pits end of lap 20. So is Snoopy. A couple more drivers coming in to make the mandatory pit stops here. Lol 3000 staying out for the time being. So Spuzz, PS Vid, Lol 3000, and obviously our race leader Jazzman. The drivers that still need to come in and make a stop here at some point, as we are approaching the final part of this race here for the season opener for Tier 1 this season. Season 5 here at Motive, here on ACC for the PS5 GT3 Championship. As Jazzman coming towards the end of lap 21 here. PS Vid still just ahead of Spuzz. You can see these two running nip and tuck. Spuzz has still got the lapped car of Henry pressuring him. Is that Henry? Surely it is, yeah. Spuzz here is coming into the pits. Yes, he is. So Spuzz wants no more of that. Doesn't want the pressure of Henry to end up forcing him into a mistake, and into the pits he comes. Oh, and car number 16, Remster, has got done for speeding in the pit lane. Stop-go penalty for him. Obviously, ACC, the rule is that if you come into the pits too quickly and endanger the health of crews and mechanics and personnel in the pit lane, the punishment is to come in and do it again. So Remster's going to come in next lap to risk the lives of mechanics and personnel once again. As Spuzz there coming back out onto the track here. And Lol 3000 also coming in here at the end of lap 21. You would think, probably. Anyway. But Jazzman and PS Vids still out there, still yet to make their pit stops. Jazzman coming around the final corner here to complete lap 22. I have a feeling PS Vids might be in this time around. Oh, that looked awesome there. Did you see that for a second on the stream? That looked absolutely amazing. For a second it looked like it was like some kind of boat parade at night. But yeah, that looked brilliant. But yeah, Jazzman's gap to Tynus currently 28 seconds. But Jazzman's still yet to pit. I think that Tynus is probably going to be quite close. It's going to be quite tight between these guys. And Tynus going for the undercut, as we said. He was about less than 2 seconds behind Jazzman when he came in. He's got the jump on Robe, who had a long pit stop for some reason. We're not sure why. My theory was that he underfueled, but we'll find out after the race, I'm sure. Remster in the pits right now, serving his stop-go penalty. Epiphany and Aerocode having a battle here for 8th and 9th places. Both of these two have pitted. Aerocode trying to throw the kitchen sink here at Epiphany, but his race kind of just petered out a little bit. Had a long pit stop due to his strategy, half tanking it. We'll have fresh tyres in this final part of the race. Not sure about Epiphany. I think his tyres might be old, might be scrub set. As we see, that's confirmation there. Remster's done his penalty. As we can see here, Epiphany defending the inside here. Aerocode's going to try and get it around the long way into turn 1. He's going to go for it here, and he's got the grip around the outside to do so. He'll have the inside for turn 2. He didn't even need the inside for turn 2. He's cleared him well before we get to the corner. Aerocode up into 8th place. Job done, easy pickings. Jazzman into the pits here. Race leader at the end of lap 22 or 23, not sure. But he's away now. So where's Tynus? Tynus coming down the start finish straight here. It's going to be close. Oh, it's going to be very, very close, but I think Tynus might have done it here. Tynus, with a very quick pit stop a few laps ago, has gone and jumped Jazzman with the undercut, and Tynus in the house leads the season opener here for Tier 1 for the Season 5. Our champion of last season, currently leading the race here, ahead of the 4-time champion Jazzman this season, looking to try and take back the crown that Tynus won off him last season in his absence. But Tynus continuing on his purple patch right now, leading the opening round of the season, and he will have a big smile on his face right now, but can he hold it for the next just under 20 minutes to go until the end of the race? In the meantime, it's PS Vids who is still yet to pit, so he's the only driver now who has to come in and make his pit stop. As and when he's going to do it, it's completely up to him. But Tynus in the house leads by 3 seconds over Jazzman, so at this point it's looking like it's advantage Tynus, but has Jazzman got the pace to come after him here? One man we've also got to keep an eye on is Robe, because Robe's, I don't know, I know he's not on fresh tyres actually, is he? Of course he's not. No, he's not on fresh tyres because he wasn't in the pits for long enough. I remember saying at the time it looked like he had put fuel in but not tyres. So I don't think Robe's going to be able to close in on them. I think it's between Tynus and Jazzman here for the race win. Where's PS? It's going to come out when he comes into the pits. Probably around, I'd say, Spaz, I would guess. It's going to be interesting to see whereabouts he filters out in all of this. Or he might come out actually near Andrew. That could be quite tight between them two actually. Well, I think he'll come out a little way behind Andrew. Actually, Andrew will have fresher tyres as well, so Andrew will be able to drive away from him. So Andrew should be safe there for P4. As we see Tynus there just putting a lap on one of the back markers there. Snoopy there, driver in P11. At this point, it was just being lapped there by the race leader. Tynus has got more traffic up ahead of him as well, which is Carl Marley, which we're coming up on in a moment. Carl Marley and Abatabi tonight here, doing a good job. Snoopy as well. Carl Marley, Snoopy, Remster, Error Code, all making their Tier 1 debuts tonight. And doing a very creditable job as well, it must be said. Robe in the meantime now pulling up onto the back of PS Vids. PS Vids obviously still yet to pit, so Robe will be wanting to clear him as quickly as he can. Won't want to be wasting too much time here, I would imagine. Snoopy's running back at Carl Marley here and he's put up for 10th place. They've also got Jazzman trying to put a lap on him as well, and this could hold Jazzman up a bit here. Jazzman looking down the inside, trying to make the move here on Snoopy, but he can't do it just yet. He's going to force his way through. Aggressive move there from Jazzman, and he gets himself through there, but that was, well, I suppose he's entitled in a way, but not really, because lap cars don't have to let you through, but I guess they're supposed to be aware of you being there. But Jazzman gets himself through it. This is a car pulling off all right on the racing line there as well. Oh, chaos right now. Jazzman makes his way through. Does he get through unscathed? He would have lost time here to Tynus regardless, but looks like he's got through without any major dramas there. Carmarley's still ahead of Snoopy. And they've got Glenn in the midst of them as well. It was Glenn, the car on the racing line, that was pulling off to the side. He was trying to pull off to the outside, but he had so many cars around him. They were all, like, you had Carmarley and Snoopy lapping Glenn, and you had Jazzman lapping Carmarley and Snoopy and Glenn. It was all a little bit chaotic there, but they've managed to do so without any enormous accidents, which I'm glad about. But Jazzman here, 3.4 behind Tynus, so didn't actually lose a heap of time there, to be fair. Still, well, he lost a few tenths of a second in that sector. Robe is currently keeping PS Fit still on his toes, but obviously PS Fit needs to come in. Robe's not going to be in too much of a rush here, I reckon, at this point, because actually when you think about it, he's not really got a chance of winning. He's too far behind Tynus and Jazzman. He's not really got much to gain, in all honesty, by getting himself, by making a rash move here on PS Fit. He's probably quite happy to just sit in behind and wait for his opportunity, because PS Fit will have to come into the pits. And when he does, obviously that will give Robe P3 by default. But PS Fit long in this stint out for reasons that I'm not really 100% certain of, because he'd probably be best off coming in and knowing where he stands then, but he's opting to keep it out there. I reckon he'll probably drop to P5 when he comes in. I think he's got enough of a gap back to Spurs to slot into P5. I don't think he'll come out ahead of Andrew. Andrew, I think, will jump him into 4. Gap between Tynus and Jazzman came down by 3 tenths on that previous lap. But it's not going to be enough for Jazzman. If he continues to gain at that rate, he will come short. Not by much, but he will come short. So Tynus needs to stay consistent and keep doing what he's doing at this point, and he'll be able to take the first round of this season. Still a fair way to go yet though. Robe looking at the inside of PS Fit, still can't get enough of a run to make a move. Is he going to be frustrated, or is he just going to be patient here? Knows that he doesn't need to get ahead of PS Fit. He can wait for PS Fit's pit stop. It's not going to be too much urgency. Robe there's got around the outside of the back marker, which is Henry. And PS Fit's finally coming into the pits here at the end of lap 28. So he's pulling the trigger now. It's taking him a while to come in, but he is now coming in. And he pulls into his pit box right about now. Tynus still leading by 3 seconds at the moment. Snoopy's still on the back of Carmarley as well for P10. Just under a second between them. Tynus is still keeping the gap to Jazzman at about 3 seconds at this stage. You see Carl and Snoopy here coming down the hill, down towards the final sector again. There's Tinus, there is Jazzman, just coming through the final corner. Spaz keeping the gap to Ludo about a second at the moment. Can Ludo have a bit of a charge on the back of Spaz here at the end of this race? These two definitely looking quite even at the moment. Tinus is gapping Jazzman a bit more now. Nearly 3.6 seconds between them, so Tinus just maybe starting to take the life out of the tyres. Noticing on the weather forecast that there's rain expected in half an hour, but we've only got 8 minutes of this race left, so I think that the rain is just going to miss us here. 10 minutes time it's expected to be dry, so that will take us to the end of the race. So it looks like we're just going to miss the rain. Obviously we saw a wet qualifying. We had a rain in the practice session according to the guys as well. Although I was commentating on Tier 2 during that time. Ludo all over the back of Spaz here as they're coming out the final corner. This is about a P6 as they come down the start finish straight. PS Fitz did come out in P5 after his pit stop. Well behind Andrew, but well clear of this battle here between Spaz and Ludo. As they now come down towards turn 1 once again. Ludo, they're throwing it a little bit late on the brakes there, but getting it slid into the corner. Always Ludo looking to the inside, but Spaz there closes the door and staying calm and not being too thrown off by Ludo throwing the antics there in the mirrors. Close call there, but Spaz is still defending like an absolute legend here tonight. Snoopy's also in the back of Carl Marley, he's pedal for P10. So that's one we've got to keep an eye on here over the next probably 5 laps or so, I would say, in this race left. Here comes Spaz and Ludo then into the final sector, into the final couple of corners. Ludo getting close to the back of Spaz every single time, but didn't really get a good enough run there out of the final corner. Had a bit of a wiggle as they came out onto the start finish straight. Over the line they come, 7/10 of a second gap. Spaz there looking a bit more comfortable there as they come down the straight. In the meantime, the gap's gone up between Tinus and Jazzman. So Tinus looking to try and wrap up this win here. It's kept now nearly 4 seconds over Jazzman, so he's a bit more comfortable here. We should have 4 more laps in this race after this one, I think. My calculations are correct. Here we come then, once again, Spaz and Ludo dicing it out, but Spaz has had his car. It's been like a combine harvester tonight. There's been no way through. I mean, to be fair, combine harvester is a bit of an insult because it suggests he's slow, and he's not. He's just got incredible racecraft. But Ludo now looking to the inside. We're side by side here, Spaz and Ludo. But once again, Spaz has the momentum here as they come down towards the end of the back straight. As the inside line as well. Ludo looking around the outside. Can he get it all the way around the long way here? Spaz trying to squeeze him to the edge of the track, but Ludo's got a great run here. And surely this is going to be job done here. Side by side into the penultimate corner. Around the outside goes Ludo. He goes wide onto the curb, but he gets the job done. Keeps the momentum around the outside. A great manoeuvre there from Ludo. And he gets himself up into P6 finally. But Spaz is trying to come back in and coming down the start finish straight. And he's got himself back through. Oh no! And there's a crash between him down the start finish straight. That is inexcusable, guys. Come on. And Ludo very sportsmanlike there. Lets Spaz continue on his way. And unfortunately for Ludo, he's now going to lose out to Error Code. So Error Code moves himself through up into 7th place. And Spaz there, sorry, Ludo's lost out there as a result of that collision. Spaz is able to continue on his way, but he's going to have damage on the car, which could leave him very vulnerable here to Error Code. So Spaz could lose P6 here through no fault of his own, I think, because he got tagged in the rear there by Error Code. Error Code there tried to tuck back into the slipstream and obviously didn't realise that he wasn't clear. They were still side by side, but sportsmanlike nonetheless. But I think that Error Code might be able to pick Spaz off here, because Spaz has got damage, and Error Code there down the inside gets it done, and he gets it done. Oh, Spaz there gives him a bit of tap there, which is not really sportsmanlike. And in the background, Ludo there loses it as he tries to avoid Error Code there, who was almost losing the car himself. Sorry, Ludo. It's all happening right now. But Error Code now pulling away. Pulling away from Ludo. And Ludo's now stuck behind one of the back markers here, I think, as well. Which is Remster there, who's just in the midst of that little pack of cars. But that's given Spaz, obviously, running there just ahead of the 16 of Remster. But yeah, bit of a chaotic situation there. Spaz now having to defend here from the lapped car of Remster as well. So come out to the start finish straight once again here. Ludo there in the background trying to attack on the back of Spaz and the lap car of Remster. Remster's now trying to attack it on Spaz. It gets so confusing when lap cars get involved. But fair play to them for still fighting despite not being in great situations. And Remster there unlaps himself there on Spaz, who's got damage obviously. Ludo now trying to knock Spaz whilst he's down if he can. They're side by side here coming out of turn 3. Ludo getting the run here around the outside into this next sequence. Is it going to be job done here for him? I think it might be. Yes, it is. Ludo gets around the outside of Spaz up into 7th place. Spaz there down to 8th. It's all unravelling a bit after his fantastic defence. Through no fault of his own, it's kind of come crashing down here. Tynus in the meantime is on his penultimate lap. He's got a lap and a half left to go. So he's coming through the middle part of the lap. He's gapped to Jazzman 3.5 seconds. It looks like this race is in the bag here for Tynus, last season's champion. Seemingly going to kick off this season with a very, very strong result indeed. Obviously P1, you can't get much stronger than that. Ludo's still running in P7. He's got just under 2 seconds to Spaz. There's Epiphany, little way behind them. Snoopy in P10 has got Carl Marley still all over the back of him. These guys have been battling out of a P10 for a considerable number of laps now, and it's looking like it's going to go down to the wire here between these two. Still nothing separating them. Tynus coming into the penultimate corner and now into the final corner. He's about to start the final lap of the race in a few moments time. Carl Marley's still all over the back of Snoopy here, but still not close enough to make a move just at this point. Leaders on the final lap there. That's the notification saying that Tynus there has got one more tour of this Kyalami Grand Prix circuit to go here for the season opener for Tier 1 for the GT3 Championship here. Season 5 on the PlayStation 5. Snoopy and Carl Marley here coming out the final corner. Over the line they come to start what is lap 33 for them, I think, or lap 34 it might be. Race leader Tynus is on lap 35, which is going to be the final lap of the race. Snoopy and Carmine almost bumper to bumper right now. Carmine looking to the outside here of Snoopy. Snoopy's covering that inside line off still. Oh, Snoopy onto the curb a bit, but still parks his car in the right place. Carmine can't find a way through. Great driving there from Snoopy. Now Carmine looking up the inside here, but just can't get enough of a run. Looks like Carl's got the pace over Snoopy at this point, but Snoopy's just wily old head, making sure there's no gaps forming whatsoever here. As we've got Tynes in the house, the race leader, coming into the final few corners. He's just putting a lap here on what would appear to be Epiphany, running in P9, but here he comes into the final corner. Tynes in the house has had the measure over Jazzman over the course of this one in terms of overall outright pace here tonight at Kyalami. It's going to be another win at Kyalami. He seems to have a thing for this track. Up towards the line he comes. He takes the checkered flag and he takes a fantastic race win, starting off his title defence in the best possible way. Jazzman over the line to take second place. Those two a long way clear of our other home driver here. So it's a second and third place here for South Africa tonight, with Jazzman and Robe here on the podium, but Tynes in the house upstaging both of them here as the Robe comes over to take the final spot on the podium. Snoopy and Carmine over to take 10th and 11th, a lap down. Where's Andrew? He's coming into the final corner. Where's Lowell 3000? He's got a few corners to go. So Andrew will be the next driver over the line to finish this race in 4th place as he takes the checkered flag. Lowell 3000 into the final corner. He's going to finish in 12th place, 1 lap down on the race winner Tynes as he comes up towards the line. There he is. He's a few seconds clear of Henry, who's coming out of the final corner now. It's going to be a P13 for Henry. What could have been if he hadn't have been caught up in a few incidents for his own doing in the early stages. PS Vid's over the line to take 5th place here. Where is Error Code? He's just got a couple of corners to go. He's just got a lap car of Remster behind him, so Remster trying to put the pressure on him here in the final few corners of the lap, but I think Error Code's going to hold on. Obviously he's a lap ahead of him anyway, but it's a battle which is raging on. Spuz and Epiphany here, battling over 8th and 9th. Spuz, I think, is going to park his car like he has done all night. Error Code there, P6, with a Remster over to take 14th place, a lap down. Glenn's finished the race 2 laps down in 15th place. Ludo over the line, spins it as he comes over in 7th. Spuz is going to hold on from Epiphany to take 8th place in the end. Flash the lights from both of those two guys. That is that then for tonight's action here at Motive for Tier 1. Tynes in the house taking a great win there ahead of Jazzman, with Robe completing the podium. Thanks ever so much, guys, for those who tuned in and commented and liked the video. If you haven't already, please do smash the like button on the stream. It helps us out an enormous amount. Yeah, I've got to go because I'm absolutely shattered. I'm so tired. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. Got no energy left. But yeah, thanks everybody once again. Please smash the like button. If you want to get involved in the action here at Motive, if you enjoy what you watch and you want to be part of the action, then go to www.motiveracing.com. You've got an SA rating of over 60, and obviously, if you think you can compete with these guys, then by all means join a Discord server and get yourself involved. If you're on the PlayStation 5 and you play on ACC, then consider yourself a member already. But for me, it's a good night, and yeah, we'll see you next week. We'll be back at the same time as always. We'll also be back on Wednesday night for the Sprint League, actually, which we've still got spaces for. So if you're interested in racing in the Sprint League or interested in tuning in, we'll be live at 8 PM UK time on Wednesday night. We'll be at Monza for that one. And then we'll be back on Sunday night as well, back for the GT3 Championship, where we'll be at Zolder this time next week at the same time for Tier 2 and Tier 1. But thanks everybody again, we'll see you soon, take it easy, and yeah, good night.